my name is Lowry and I'm going to run through a short beginner reformer Pilates class. So I'm using one of the Align reformers today, and I will talk about the springs that I use for this reformer. So I'm going to start off with one blue spring, which is the lightest spring. And I'm going to stand up and come to the end of the reformer. From here, feet hip distance apart, I'm going to imagine my head as a balloon floating up and away from my body. I'm going to gently draw my shoulder blades back towards each other. I'm going to take a nice deep breath in. And as I breathe out, I'm going to roll my chin onto my chest, curling my spine down vertebrae by vertebrae. My hands and my head are heavy. I'm going to reach my hands down towards the edge of the carriage, framing my head with my arms. From here, I'm going to push the carriage out as far as I can comfortably, keeping my hips over my ankle. From here, I'm going to breathe in as I bend my knees, sitting down into it a little bit. As I breathe out, I'm going to push the carriage away a fraction further, at the same time straightening my knees. From here, allow the carriage to come back in, at the same time curling your tailbone underneath your body and starting to stack your spine back up vertebrae by vertebrae by vertebrae. When I get to the top, I'm going to rotate my thumbs away from my body, reach my fingertips to the floor, look to the sky, take a deep breath in, and as I breathe out, let's repeat. So roll the chin onto the chest. I like to imagine there's an electric fence in front of my belly button that I'm curling up and over, reaching my hands down towards the edge of the carriage. Now you can bend your knees if you need to in this position. From here we'll push out. As you push out, keep the hips stacked over the ankles. Feel that lovely stretch through the back of the legs. Bend your knees as you need to. If the stretch is too much, take a deep breath in, bending the knees to push the carriage away. Breathing out now, straightening your knees and allowing the carriage to come in a little bit. Let's do that again. So breathing in, bend your knees, sending the carriage away a little bit further, dropping your chest towards your thighs. And from here now we're going to straighten our legs. We're going to curl our tailbone under, arching our back, and then stacking it vertebrae by vertebrae by vertebrae. Head heavy. When we get to the top, rotate the thumb away from the body, reach the fingertips to the floor, look up to the sky, take a deep breath in, and release. Okay, from here I'm going to lift the foot bar into the third position. So I'm going to change my springs to one green, one red, and one blue. So that is the equivalent of a heavy spring, a slightly lighter spring, and then the lightest spring. To get down onto the reformer, come to the edge, reach your hand down to the edge of the carriage, take your weight down onto your elbow, and now let's roll down onto our side. We can lift the headrest up if we'd like to have it on. Swing your legs so that we're lying on our back, and let's get ourselves comfortable. So I always like to just open through the collarbones to start off. And this allows us to stretch through the front of our chest. We're going to have our feet on the bar, and we'll start off with our heels on the bar, our toes to the sky. Take a nice deep breath in. And as you breathe in, visualize a balloon inside in your rib cage. And as you breathe out, feel that we're starting to melt our rib cage down onto the carriage. So we'll take a few deep breaths. So nice deep breath in through the nose and breathing out, melting the rib cage down onto the carriage. We're going to find neutral spine from here. So pressing our lower back down into the carriage. And now we'll tilt our pelvis forward, which means that we arch our lower back up off the carriage. Excuse me. So let's do that again. Let's roll our lower back down into the carriage, and now arch our back put our hand in the small of our back. Neutral spine will be in between those two extremes. Our feet will be parallel. We'll take a nice deep breath in. And as we breathe out, I want you to straighten your legs, pushing the carriage all the way out. Breathing in, let's draw our seat bones back in towards our heels. So breathing out as we push out. Breathing in as we draw the carriage back in. So using our breath. And as you push the carriage out, I want you to visualize your thigh bones sinking back into your hamstring, so we feel the front of our hip opening up. And then drawing the carriage back in, feel as though you're drawing your seat bones in towards your heels. So breathing out to push out, and in as we come back in. We want you to straighten your legs without locking them out. So we're keeping the energy in our muscle throughout the exercise. So let's do one more, and then back in. From here, I'll get you to bring your heels together, turn your toes out to the side, take a nice deep breath in, and let's go again. Breathing out, pushing out, squeezing the back of our knees towards each other, breathing in as we draw the seat bones to the heels. And let's continue. For this exercise, ideally you keep your knees in line with your hips, but I think it's okay if you allow your knees to go a little bit wider, because it can help you open up the range of movement in your hips, which is always a good thing. So let's go for 3 more. So breathing out, squeezing the seat bones together, breathing in, drawing the seat bones to the heels, smiling through our collarbones, keeping our rib cage firmly anchored down, and now back in. From here, I'm going to move my feet down the bar so the balls of my feet are on the bar. Lifting my heels up, I'm going to push back out again and draw the carriage back in. So we're after moving our foot into a different position on the bar, keeping our heels lifted, and this will help us to work on stability in our ankles. So breathing out to push out, breathing in to draw the seat bones back to the heels. It's good to use your breath to help you with the timing of your movement. So let's do 2 more of these for me now. Breathing out to push out, and as we come back in, and all the way in. We'll move our foot down a little bit further. This is a really great exercise for strengthening your plantar fascia. Excuse me. So lifting the heels, toes wrapped around the bar like a bird on a wire, pushing out again, and drawing the carriage back in. So once again, we keep our heels lifted for this, like we're wearing a pair of stilettos. As we push the carriage out, we feel the front of our hips opening as our thigh bones sink down into our hamstrings. We then draw the seat bones in towards our heels to bring the carriage back in. So last one, all the way out and back in. From here, I'll go to footwork position 2. So my feet are wider, my toes are pointed up towards the sky, and I'm going to push back out again and draw the carriage in. So it changes the exercise slightly, a little bit more challenging. Breathing out, sinking the rib cage down into the carriage. Once again, focusing on straightening our legs without locking them out. And back in. So let's go for 3 more, and 1 and 2. Lovely, guys, and 3. Back in. From here, let's rotate our toes out to the side, allow our knees to fall, and let's do the same thing. So pushing out, drawing the carriage back in. As you push the carriage out, squeeze the seat bones together. As you draw the carriage back in, feel your seat bones widening as though you're doing a squat. Out to push out. This is a really nice way of working into our hip range of movement. So breathing out as we push the carriage out, breathing in as we draw back in. So let's go for 3 more, and 1 and 2. Once again, opening up through the hips, and 3. Back in. From here, we're going to rotate our knees and our toes in towards each other. And this time as we breathe out, only allow the knees to separate when they absolutely must. Breathing and draw the knees back in towards each other. If we visualize an elastic band around our knees that allows our knees to separate as we push out, but draws them back in towards each other as soon as they're able to return. So like magnets going from one knee to the other, breathing out to push out, breathing in as we come back in, keeping that rib cage nicely anchored. Remembering when we take the deep breath in, we want it to go down into the base of our lungs. And last one, and back in. Okay, from here let's move into a shoulder bridge. You can take your headrest off, that's important for our shoulder bridge. So my head is flat, heels on the bar, toes up to the sky. Take a nice deep breath in. As you breathe out, I want you to focus on pressing your lower back down into the carriage, scooping your tailbone up and rolling our spine up vertebrae by vertebrae up into a shoulder bridge. Take a nice deep breath in here, close your eyes, and as you breathe out, slowly roll your spine down. Feel as though your spine is lengthening as you roll it all the way down. Let's go again, deep breath in. And you can do this with your eyes open or closed. And we're focusing on spinal articulation, which means we're encouraging all the little vertebrae in our back to get moving as we do this. Deep breath in. In our shoulder bridge, focus on melting your rib cage down towards your pelvis to engage through the front of our body. And now slowly roll your spine down piece by piece by piece. Okay, so let's do that again. We're rolling back up into our shoulder bridge. And that always feels so nice, I think. Let's hold here, take a deep breath in. And as we breathe out, we're going to push through our heels to send the carriage out a little bit. Breathing in to draw the carriage back in. So let's go again. So breathing out as we straighten our knees, pushing the carriage out. Breathing in as we draw our seat bones back to our heels. Have a glance at your knees. Make sure your knees are in line with your hips. Breathing in as we come back in. So breathing out to push out. And in as we come back in. So let's go for 3 more. And 1. And 2. Lovely. And 3. If you found that these springs were too light or too heavy for you, you can always change them as you need to, as we're doing the exercise. Okay, lovely. One last exercise in this position. Back onto the toes. We're going to push the carriage all the way out. From here, as we breathe in, we're going to sink our heels under the bar, feeling a lovely stretch. Breathing out, we're going to lift our heels up as we go onto our toes. So breathing in to sink the heels under the bar. Breathing out to lift the heels up. So let's go with that. So breathing in to sink under. Breathing out to lift up. Okay. And this is lovely for working on our stability around our ankle. It also gives us a bit of a stretch in the plantar fascia in the sole of our foot and also in the calf muscles. And last one. And from here we'll bend our knees and draw the carriage back in. To come off the reformer, we roll onto our side. We push our hand onto the headrest to come up into sitting. I'm going to change my springs to a red and a blue, and then I'm going to lie back down again. So I'm going to move on to the mid-back series, putting my headrest back up into the middle position if you want to have it up. I'm going to grab my straps. Just missed one there for a moment. Okay, so for our mid-back series, I have 1 red and 1 blue. I'm going to move my shoulders down a little bit to give me a bit of space. I'm going to start off by imprinting my spine into the carriage. And this is important for doing legs in tabletop. And what that means is, previously we were in neutral spine. Now we want to press the small of our back into the carriage while we're lifting our 2 legs up into the air. So once I've done that, I'm now going to lift my hands up above my chest. I'm going to lift 1 leg up to tabletop, and now the second leg up to tabletop. So I have the small of my back pressed down. My hands are working straight away because they're holding the tension through the carriage, keeping them above my chest. I'm going to take a nice deep breath in, and as I breathe out, keeping my body still, I'm pushing my hands down towards my hips, breathing in as I lift my hands back up, bringing them in line with my shoulders before I push down towards my hips again. Imagine that your shoulder blades have little bits of Velcro, sticking them down onto the carriage as we're doing this. So as you push your hands down towards your hips, we're maintaining our shoulders connection to the carriage. Keeping our lower back connected now as well. So breathing out as we push the hands to the hips. So let's do one more of these for me. So breathing out as we push, breathing in to lift. I'm going to bring my hands wide now, a little bit more of a challenge. And you can always just return to one red if it feels too much. As you breathe out, pull your hands in towards your hips, breathing in as we reverse. So remember, as we breathe in, we're thinking about filling up the base of our lungs. And as we breathe out, we're melting our rib cage down onto the carriage, and we're emptying our lungs. Keeping our neck relaxed, keeping the shoulders down. So let's go for two more. Breathing out as we pull the hands into the hips, and then release. And again, let's pull and release. From here, lift your hands up into the air. We're going to pull our hands down by our hips, and now we're going to bend our elbows. So working on our triceps this time. As we breathe out, we're going to push our hands towards our hips, keeping the elbows bent, breathing in as we lift up. So you can rest the back of your arms on the reformer if you like. Or alternatively, to make it a little bit more challenging, you can hover your upper arm off the reformer as you're doing this. And just challenges our shoulder and our arm a little bit more. We're keeping our lower back down all the time. So let's do 3 more of these for me now. And 1, and 2, and 3. And let's come back to our tabletop position. So from here, we're going to add in another level of a challenge to the exercise. So you can work at whatever level suits you. We'll take a deep breath in. And as we breathe out, we're going to push our hands toward our hips. We're going to curl our head and our chest up. Breathing in as we roll our spine back piece by piece. So breathing out as we float our head and our chest, pushing our hands towards our hips. Breathing in as we come back. You might need to wiggle your shoulders down a little bit more. So breathing out as we lift, breathing in as we reverse back. And again, we're lifting, so push through your hands to help engage through your tummy muscles and help you get a little bit more of a lift. So let's do 3 more for me now. And 1, and 2, keeping the lower back connected, and 3, and all the way back down. I'm going to put one foot onto the bar, and then the second foot onto the bar. For doing our feet in straps, we can stay at 1 red and 1 blue, or alternatively, we can change the springs to 2 reds. So I think maybe just do whatever you're comfortable with. 2 reds is a little bit more of a challenge. So back down onto the reformer to put our feet into the straps. We're going to lift the 2 straps up, push the carriage out, lift 1 leg up into the air, put our foot into the long strap, bend your knee, take the weight of the carriage, lift the other leg up into the air. So now both of our feet will be in. I like to wiggle my shoulders down so they're not completely compressed against the shoulder blocks. From here, we're going to bend our knees, connect the heels together, rotate the toes out to the side, imprint our lower back down onto the carriage. I'm going to take a nice deep breath in, and as you breathe out, I'm going to straighten the legs, pushing through our heels, drawing the back of the knees towards each other. Breathing in, allow the knees to drift as the feet come back in towards us. So as we breathe out, straighten your legs, making sure we're keeping our lower back connected, breathing in to draw the knees back up towards our hips. The important points for this exercise are that we're keeping our tailbone down all of the time while we're doing this exercise, that we can keep our lower back connected
If you find you can keep your lower back connected, you can push your legs slightly more in a horizontal direction. If you find your lower back is lifting, if you do that, maybe going in a slightly more vertical direction will enable you to keep your lower back down. And if we can keep our lower back down, it will help us to engage some of those deeper abdominal muscles. So last one, guys, back to our tabletop. Bring the knees together, stretch the legs up into the air. Really important, our tailbone is connected to the floor here. As we breathe out, lower the legs down. Breathing in as we lift back up. And again, breathing out as we lower the legs down. Keeping our lower back connected. Breathing in as we lift back up. This is particularly nice. So we're working our legs as we push the feet down. Breathing in, feel that lovely stretch as we control our legs as they draw back in. So we're pushing through our feet, keeping our rib cage and lower back connected. Really good, guys. Last one, breathing out as we push. This time we're going to separate the legs away from each other to draw a circle, feeling our hips opening. So breathing out as we push through the feet, loop the legs away from each other. Now those circles I'm demonstrating are quite large. It might be that you're doing a much smaller size circle, and just work within whatever your body is comfortable with and can tolerate. So we're going to reverse the circles now, making sure the tailbone is staying down all of the time while we're doing this. Okay, let's go for 3 more. And 1. And allowing those circles to go as wide or as small as you wish. And 2. And 3. And back to the center. From here, we'll keep the carriage really still, keep our lower back down. Let's float the legs out to the side, breathing in as we come back in. This is quite a nice way to stretch our legs. We're still working our muscles by keeping the carriage really still as we float our legs all the way out and now back in. Good. So last time, guys, all the way out and back in. Okay, I'm going to bend my knees. I'm going to finish off with a nice little stretch on the reformer. I'm going to straighten my legs up, reach my hands up, gently pulling the straps in towards me while I keep my tailbone down and my lower back down. And I'll hold here for a couple of seconds. And now I'll go nice and wide, same thing again. As much as you can comfortably. Using your breath, so deep breath in and breathing out as you release. And a deep breath in again. And out as you release. Okay, we're going to bend our knees. To take our feet out of the strap, first of all, we'll take one foot out, reach that foot down so it's safely on the foot bar, hang up your strap, and now take the other foot out, hang up your strap, and allow the carriage to come back in. It's important to always hang the straps up on the longer loops. We're going to push up into sitting here. Now, we'll do one stretch before we finish up. This is one of my favorite ones. So I have one foot on the ground, and then I have one foot on the shoulder block of the carriage. From here, I'll take a nice deep breath in. Keeping my left foot still, I'm going to push the carriage back using my right foot, dropping my pelvis down towards the floor as I do so. Feeling the right hip opening up, breathing in. I'll draw the carriage back in using my right knee. So breathing out, pushing out using the right foot, breathing in, drawing in using the right knee. And again, pushing out. Let's hold here for a moment. Take a nice deep breath in. I'm going to open the left hand all the way out, looking back at the left hand. Bring the carriage back in. And we'll change the exercise slightly. Straighten the left leg and push the carriage back again using your right foot. We're going to feel it more in our hamstring this time, so the back of the leg. Breathing out as we push out, breathing in as we draw the carriage in.
We'll continue to feel it through the front of the right hip. So we push back with the right foot. You can lift your toe up. If that feels like a nervy stretch, just lower your foot down, and that should reduce the neural component to the stretch. And now bring the carriage back in. Okay, I'm going to do the other side. So left foot on the shoulder block, right foot on the floor, 2 hands down. Pushing the carriage back using the left foot, dropping the pelvis down, drawing the carriage in using the left knee. So let's do that again, pushing all the way out and drawing the carriage in. This time we're going to hold, lift the right hand up, open the right hand out to the side, following the hand with our head. Take a deep breath in, and now bring the hand back in and draw the carriage back in. Let's straighten our right leg and push the carriage back again. So feeling it more in the back of the right hamstring this time. Breathing in as you come back in. And again, breathing out as you push out. And in as you come in. Last time, pushing all the way out. And draw the carriage back in. Okay. So, I hope you enjoyed the class.